We're back again.
Are we back? Oh, we're actually recording then.
Yeah, I hit the button.
Well, the button is all important, bro.
Yes. Well, so I guess on this episode we're going to have current events, and we have a special guest.
We do. We do.
I don't know if it would have been more epic to surprise you while we're recording, but I felt that this special guest message, you should probably hear it first.
Yeah. No. Well. Yeah. I guess it could have gone south.
I didn't know. I wasn't sure.
What you don't want 45 minutes of me just openly weeping.
No, or you just being mad at me for 45 minutes. That would be awful.
It would add a nice tension.
Oh, yeah. It would be palpable.
All right, so
it would be an insane amount of tension.
So yeah, with zero context whatsoever, Rob decided to gift me out of nowhere with a cameo, because I gifted him about a little over a week ago with the knowledge that Cameo existed.
Oh, now the power.
So Rob has now found out that he can get like C and D level stars, quote unquote.
There are like surprising, like B, like upper B stars on Cameo.
There are some. I would consider Brian Cox to be an A, and if you spend I think it's like 350. It was
reasonable.
If I had $350 to just like set on fire, I would easily get myself a Brian Cox, shout out,
Oh yeah.
But
I saw that. I saw somebody else's on there. Did you see? Hold on, I'm going to text you who I saw.
Gary Busey's on there, and I think that was like 175 or something, dude. I would pay. I'll pay 175, or at the very least, I'll pay like 85, 90 or whatever, and split it with you.
Oh yeah, just because I'm sure he will ramble for a while. You'll get your money's worth. I mean, because of the brain injury and all,
he has a goddamn guitar. He has a guitar, dude. The guitar alone. Are you kidding?
No, it'll be well worth it. Fuck. Well, this episode we're gonna do our quick reviews and opinions on two. One is definitely new, Malignant, and then the other one I assume is fairly new, which is one that I definitely watched, The Unholy, which is Sam Raimi and Robert Tappert produced.
Rob definitely 100% watched Unholy, so I'm gonna
100%, 1,000%.
Let Rob do the setup for that one, and then we'll discuss after that.
Yep, I got the Wikipedia page pulled up right here. But before we get any further, we're going to let our little, instead of having a metal mashup, because I didn't have time to do one, we're gonna let Patrick's pep talk. We're gonna call this Patrick's pep talk.
Hey, so Rob's gonna spend money every single week to get a C-level celebrity, dude.
Unless I have time for a metal mashup, which I'm sure will come soon. Okay. Yep. So this is the Patrick Pep Talks segment.
Do it.
Hello, creeps. It's your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper.
I'm so glad I did this.
And today, I have a very special pep talk from my good fiend, Robert. He says he has a prick of a friend named Patrick who needs some uplifting.
Before I started realizing what was about.
At first, I thought he was pulling my chain. Well, listen, I do hope that you still have a bone for those you love. Hey, look at me. I'm a bag of bones and I'm still standing. Well, you know, Robert tells me you got one hell of a good-looking penis. You're going to have to find someone who'll give you head and then let you keep it. But seriously, I do hope you recover soon. And until then, may all your screams come true. From Robert, and of course your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. Patrick, be well.
I do love how
I love the way he
John
has to.
Kassir.
Yeah. He's like, but for real, guys, I do need acting gigs. So if you could remember my name and if you need me, give me a call, please.
It's like somebody who speaks in a perfect English accent, but has some Hispanic background. As soon as they get to a Spanish word, just drops the full accent.
Dude, that is So I do listen.
We're gonna go to the football game. We're gonna watch so and so. They're gonna have some tamales. where the hell did that come from, Todd? Like,
I can't do the R roll, but I listen to NPR because I'm boring like that. But I listen to NPR on my way to work, and there's this one reporter they have, and like she speaks in a completely flat, just American accent, like, you know, not even like there's not a Southern accent, there's not a twinge to it anywhere. It's just like the most bland accent you can think of. And then at the end where she says her name, it's like Maria something. And I mean, she hits every rolling R. Like it's full on, like, holy shit. Like she just came across the border from Mexico and started reporting, but just when she said her name.
Thank you for tuning in to News at 10. This is your reporter, Maria Sanchez. It's like, okay, where did that come from? Like, well, anyway, I was watching Patrick while it played, and I could see the post-traumatic stress and pain in his eyes, but he's a good sport, and
Here you go.
And it cost me money. So
so we're going to use it.
That's why he allowed me to use it. But either which way, I thought it was a good pep talk. I thought it was good. You could play it anytime he starts to feel bad.
It is. No, I am going to watch that multiple times. Like, I that's why before we started recording this, as we alluded to, Rob let me listen to it earlier, and
no context though. I just said I sent you a video.
Well, yeah. No, I had already watched it. I watched it while the phone was ringing.
Oh.
Like, that's why it took me a while to answer, because I'm like, no, fuck you, I'm watching this shit.
Oh.
So like, yeah. So I don't even remember where I started talking just then. The fact of the matter is, I absolutely adored it. I've got it saved on my computer. Then I emailed it to myself, so I have it on my phone. I'm sure there's a more efficient way to do that, but I don't know it. So, and then I proceeded to send it out to my wife and my brothers. And
I got this great friend who tells C and D rated celebrities about my most traumatic incidents ever happened in my life.
Yes.
Not with a lot of detail. Okay. I will say I have some couth. I just put it out there that there was a procedure, and
dude, one of my favorite and the best part is anybody listening to this who isn't like in our friend circle or part of our my family has no idea what the hell we're talking about. But what I will say is that I was able to do this wonderful thing where you know, it's kind of a personal and rude question to ask somebody if they've been out of work or gone for a while for surgery. It's kind of rude to just blatantly be like, "Oh, what'd you have surgery on?" Right? So yeah. I make sure to teach every one of them a lesson, and just like straight face, no shame, like direct eye contact. Oh, yeah, they had to cut out part of my urethra and sew it back together.
Yeah,
and then look on their face.
Marissa is nice enough to send me medical videos.
Yeah.
Say, this is it right here. This is what they do. I'm like, no, Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
How is that even legal on YouTube?
Oh, I don't know. Can't believe
Like, because the video she sent,
like that.
yeah, no. I mean,
But
enough about Patrick's
we've
penis.
been talking
We're
about this
going
for a while. Insane, stupid medical practices are a perfect lead into
insane, stupid horror movies.
There you go. So we're going to start off with our review of *Malignant*.
It was awful and unoriginal, and I hated it. So now we can move on
It
to
was-
more pressing matters.
It was most definitely unoriginal. It was 100% unoriginal. I will say, at least James Wan is at least claiming that it's on purpose. Okay.
I don't think so.
You know, yeah, it couldn't not be. If you've seen his other work, like this was stylistically, I mean, yeah, it had a little bit of James Wan feel to it, obviously, but he's much more, I wouldn't say competent, because it was pretty much competently made.
It wasn't.
He's much more modern than that. Like the camera angle, the tracking shots. I mean, even the ones that clearly were done with more modern technology, they had this older feel to them. If that makes any sense.
I mean, I think they definitely. I think some of the things were intentional. But I don't think it was made. I don't think the goal was to make an intentionally cheesy. Because to me, it was cheesy. That's in my opinion.
It was.
But I think it was his vision of he was trying to do something that wasn't modern, like all the other things he did. Maybe it was intentional. It's hard for some things. It's hard for me to believe were intentional. Like the acting in this movie, I thought was like horrendously bad.
No, it was, but again, like it wasn't so much if you within the first 5 minutes, especially like those deep reds, like where they're lighting, the very deliberate oversaturated lighting effects and everything like that. I mean, that's what told me from the get-go, okay, he's doing this on purpose. This is what he's trying to call back to. And then even the camera angles he used and everything like that. And then the acting, it was that weird, like almost like a stage acting.
It felt like daytime soap opera.
Yeah. Again, I think it was. I think that was on purpose.
Well, and it's double-edged for me, because it's like if he wanted, I don't like Italian horror. I don't like giallo. I think it's all crap. But I don't even appreciate it. I just don't. But if that was his intention to try to do a throwback to giallo, I think on some of the most important marks he just missed it. Like it wasn't brutal like a lot of Italian horror.
It was pretty brutal at times.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things that were brutal, and maybe this was a budget restriction or something, but
it did cut away from the direct gore a few times.
They did, and then like the stabbing scenes and the blood spatter coming off it's like
Raimi.
It was, but everything's CGI'd. I mean, the blood spatter was CGI'd, the bleeding was CGI'd. I mean, just stuff to where there's a scene where they cut away where the the thing is attacking, I think, the woman doctor, and it's a cutaway. You don't see anything except for blood spattering on cabinets, and they CGI'd blood spattering. How much does it cost to have a grip with like a paintbrush loaded with face just to like splatter, or like in a good Italian horror, like just dump half a gallon of blood? So there's just certain things that took me out of it. And then of course, the number one thing in this movie is the story and the twists.
Okay, so
and Savannah,
we have to. Okay, can we set the rules right now? Is this going to be like a spoiler review, or is this spoiler free? Because so much of what I feel like you can't review the story elements without spoiling it.
Okay. This is going to be no, yeah, forget that. This is going to be a spoiler. A spoiler alert right now. If you don't like it, look. Okay, we'll give you like, spoilers are coming up, and then you can.
Yeah, we won't just drop them on you.
Yeah, I mean, it was her twin, Siamese twin. There, I dropped it. I'm sorry. Oops. But I told you spoilers are coming up.
That doesn't even. Well, hold on though.
That doesn't even come close to spoiling it.
I think anybody would be able to come to that conclusion relatively early on. Okay.
Okay. Well, we said spoilers. I will say,
because of everything else that this movie like ripped off or took away from. Like, I swear to God, I've seen this concept in more things than I can't. Unfortunately, I can't name. Like, a lot of it just seems like stuff that I've seen in passing, you know?
I mean, I think we could like fire off. Okay. It obviously rips off. Well, it rips off Basket Case. It rips off It's Alive.
There are two, I want to say 2 episodes at least of Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, absolutely.
It was like, what was the one? There were these brothers who were Siamese twins.
Well, it rips that one off, and it also rips off the ventriloquist one with the Siamese twin kind of retracting itself almost in and out. But it most certainly just in the movie.
Hold on, that was the one I was trying to think of. That was
his hand. His hand was the dummy.
Yeah.
And it would talk, and he was a Siamese twin, and it was Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yes.
And that's one of my all-time favorites. And it definitely rips off The Ring. It rips off Basket Case. It rips off several.
Well, there was the
Tales from the Crypt. It rips off It's Alive, and it rips off every Jackie Chan movie I've ever seen. Because spoiler alert, Gabriel, the Siamese twin, he knows kung fu, and he literally kung fu's an entire police precinct.
Oh,
I don't know, 47 minutes.
Okay, so yeah, let's get into this part. So let's get into the whole Gabriel thing, because we've already established. Look, the bottom line, as far as like, I actually appreciated the movie. Okay, I did see. Now, as far as it being original, no, it wasn't in any way, shape, or form. However, it wasn't.
We must remove the cancer, and we must save it.
Yeah,
we must say that.
So
27 times.
I knew from, within like 20 minutes in or so, like, and I sent in the text group that we're in, I sent in about 20 minutes in or something. I was like, okay, if this is going where I think it's going, like, I'm pretty sure I just figured out the twist, like 20 minutes in.
And see, that's where like I kind of
really spoilers right here, like one of the first times you see Gabriel, the killer, they're essentially walking all wonky and stuff. And for a split second, you're like, oh, they're doing like the Japanese, jerky walk thing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh no, their body's backwards. Okay, well, I've seen this shit before. She's got a face in the back of her head. Done. Like, it was, especially, there were so many other things. She mentioned something about, I've always wanted a blood connection, like, and then mentions to her sister, oh, I was adopted, blah 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 blah.
Well, I mean, Savannah, who didn't look, I'm gonna be completely honest here. I may be a little bit biased about it, because within like the first 5 posts in the horror group about the genius of this movie, I just Wikipedia'd it, read the plot, and I was like, okay,
where you watched it?
Of course, I don't give a shit. This movie wasn't going to make or break my day. But Savannah doesn't care about that stuff. And about the same time, 25 minutes in, and Savannah's never even seen Basket Case. She's got no interest in this kind of stuff. She was like, Gabriel's a twin or Siamese twin or something, because it opens in a they spoon feed you everything to the point to where, even though this twist, which is not that unbelievable of a twist in the genre, it's like they just give it to you. Like you said, the detectives, the hands are backwards. That's so strange.
They don't even, like, not only that, but it even failed. And I was going to go back and rewatch it, but there were specific times that I was watching it and it couldn't be consistent. It was like sometimes they forgot. They either
Yes.
forgot or ran out of budget, because you would see Gabriel running away, but it was running like a normal person, right? And then the next shot, you would see they had the shoes on backwards and all that shit, But like
Or he would be running away and he would there's and oh my god, the science or the not science or whatever it is about this movie.
Science? Rob?
Yeah.
No,
yes.
there was no the science.
Well, it's because it's not supernatural. At least I'm
Yes.
calling
No,
it.
just-
That,
that's
stop.
just it.
That's what I'm saying. They keep forgetting. They didn't know because Gabriel could disappear into the darkness, but also in the in one scene in the hotel hotel room, he took a 9mm to the hip and he limped while he Jackie Chan'd off a building. Then in the end of the movie, the cop shot
another one.
Shot 3 times, stomach and in the
Insane-
chest, and
insane.
they closed up on it in the movie to show you,
It went
that-
straight through. That was a big hole.
and it showed you in the movie.
Yeah.
But then at the end of like nothing ever happened. So it's like, is it supernatural? Is it real? I mean, it was physical because he was a physical Siamese twin, and then of course the doctors cut basically put the Siamese twin in a deli slicer, cut as much off as they could, and then shoved the rest in the back of her head.
The
and
way they just
stapled
shoved it like
closed.
that's fine. Like shoving dirty clothes under a bed. Just that's fine. Just get in there. Like,
and there's still like eyes and teeth.
yeah, and it's just gnashing away.
And, they're just gonna put like a patch over it. Like,
oh,
yeah, it'll be good.
He went to sleep. What the fuck? What?
So that's what I mean. Like I
What's
haven't seen a lot of Italian horror. Or at least I have seen a lot. I just didn't pay attention.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
That's what I was doing. But like there is some out there. I'm trying to think of the one that took place with the chainsaw guy in the on the campus, the college campus. It was on Joe Bob. But the ending of that movie.
Rob, you covered it on CCH.
Of course I did.
That's
of course
the only
I watched
why
it.
I
Yeah.
watched.
No, I watched it on Joe. I've never seen that movie before until Joe Bob Briggs. Like, I watch movies. I'm not here to review movies that I watch. I'm here to review movies that I know the title of, and that's it.
Good.
But anyway, the ending of that movie was just like this random reveal. The killer was Steven, who's never been introduced in the movie, and we don't know who he is. Meanwhile, this movie's got like, I'm pretty sure right at 2 hours or 2 hours 5 runtime, and you know everything. If you don't know it by 25 minutes in, you know it by at least the 45-minute mark.
Oh yeah.
And the rest of this movie.
People try to keep all secretive about it.
Well, and like the crazy thing is, okay, so it opens up, it tells you, it basically feeds everything to you.
Yeah.
And then it kind of turns into, like you said, it's like James Wan or whoever. Well, I have to blame James Wan because he's the writer, director, editor, cinematographer, everything. And his movies look great, and this looked good. But like you said, throughout the movie, he builds up tension, and then the tension. He keeps trying to, or he builds up tension through like each scene has tension instead of the full movie. Like each scene has every scene has a beginning, middle, and end kind of tensioner. But then, like you said, the police officers who are the biggest tension builder in the movie, because nobody believes it's her mutant Siamese twin that's doing it. Like you said, they just keep forgetting their own evidence. It's like they arrest her, but then they believe her, but then they don't believe her, but then they found this evidence.
Okay, so there's your supernatural element, because out of nowhere, with no explanation whatsoever,
they have amnesia.
Gabriel had fucking electricity powers, dude. He could.
That's right. That's right. He could operate phones and stuff, which they didn't really use much of.
You know what? Here's my question. Okay. So, Gabriel was a he, right?
Yes, I assume.
But Gabriel had no genitalia.
Okay, I'm not going to get into this with you. I've told you 1,000 times that gender is an opinion.
Okay. Well, Rob, somebody assigned it a gender, Rob.
Maybe that's why he's mad. Did you ever think about that?
I did not, actually. That's
why he's so upset.
That's actually a valid point, Rob. Thank you.
But yeah, no, he doesn't. and I don't know what he's mad about. Like,
He's mad about getting shoved back inside. What? Wouldn't you be? Are you kidding me? He's mad because he was like a little fucking, like, just.
but okay, but if they share the same, okay,
He
but if they,
He looked like one of the shells of a cicada. He looked like a cicada shell stuck
he
on
did,
this woman,
did.
and he's just like flailing. Like,
But I mean, but if they,
On
but
the
if they
back,
share,
ah.
but if they share the same brain, that means they share the same consciousness, right?
Okay, see, that's something that this thing completely misunderstood, especially like with Siamese twins and shit.
I mean, I
There-
just thought about that. Like, if they're sharing the same brain and he can put her to sleep or awake, and he
No, exactly. That's not even how Siamese twins work. I mean, don't get me wrong. None of this is how any of it works, but like there would have to be room for
every time
sex.
you say something like that, I just picture that Geico meme or whatever that you made about something. But like, this isn't how any of this works. This isn't how not one thing works this way. None of it.
But like there would have to be room for that second brain. Instead,
Yeah.
they shove his entire head into her head and then just put a piece of bone over it. Where'd they get the extra bone?
Yeah, that's
But
one thing too. Where's the guy?
they just put the extra bone just right there and like, there you go, you're all set. And then they just forgot. And there was no follow-up appointment.
Nope.
There was none. It was like, okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. We put bone over it. You're fine. He's got electricity powers now because we shocked him, but it's fine. You'll be all right.
They don't go into and
Keep her away from knives. Say what? Oh, nothing. It's fine. Happy
yeah,
birthday.
no. And then it's like, okay, damn, this movie's so okay. So they shove him back in the head, in her head, and he goes to sleep. He goes to Sleepy Town. Then I assume she is adopted out to the adoptive parents, and then there's all these, because you can't have a horror movie or any movie nowadays without, look, I love the 80s and 90s, but there's always the VHS tape throwback, and she's still talking to him. It's her imaginary friend. So he didn't go to sleep.
No,
he was awake.
No,
and
so
they never tell us how he goes back to sleep again.
They did in one throwaway line. So that's why he was saving the sister for last, because it was when the baby was born, she forgot about him.
But see, it also just doesn't make sense if he can control her consciousness.
No, not at all.
Or whatever it is, but because it just takes like the wife beating husband that slams her head up against the wall to awaken him, but he was never asleep, and it just it's so weird. It just doesn't make any sense how any of this works.
Here's an issue, and like on the one hand, and I caught myself for a second because I'm thinking to myself, you know what? This whole movie I have been thinking about just how unreasonably skinny she is. She is unreasonably skinny. And then I'm like, oh, well, that's pretty cool how they, or at least that's pretty consistent how they threw in the fact that he's been leeching nutrients off of her, right? But then they remind me, well, that's the reason she keeps having miscarriages, because he's leeching resources and nutrients.
Okay.
I gotta sustain a baby. But how? I
got to hit timeout here. I got to hit timeout real quick.
What's up?
One, we have a Ring ripoff where the blonde little sister drives to basically Dracula's castle in the middle of nowhere. And
when you get
the best line, the best line in the movie, is when she goes, "Oh wow!" Like, who doesn't know that exists? There is a castle, a literal mental asylum castle, anywhere near within 100 miles of your town.
Yes.
You know it's there. Okay, and then two, at the end, just like what you said.
All abandoned.
Yeah, and then two, like what you said, she goes there, she finds some files. Of course, they're there. Just happen to be there. All the files she needs.
And these people are all still alive. The surgeon is like a renowned surgeon who has a
trophy. She
Number
has a
one
best. She has
surgeon.
a first place surgeon trophy, which I thought. I
And
even text
yet-
Patrick back. A trophy? Are you kidding me?
They have this giant, very expensive looking uh, hospital that's just completely and utterly abandoned with all the medical files still there.
On beachfront property,
On
built
dude,
on a cliffside
expensive. I'm
in
telling you,
Seattle.
there's no way in hell that place is unnoticed. We had here in town, we had an abandoned mental asylum called
Sunnyland.
Sunland, and we all went there for years. Asbestos be damned. That's probably why I'm coughing a little bit right now.
I had to crawl. Then the basement flooded, and we had to crawl through the basement. And I waded through floodwater in Sunland Asylum. And that's probably where the cancer is going to come from. Where I get it.
I can't imagine fucking doing that. Are you?
You got cancer, but everything's below the waist.
You are out of your goddamn mind.
Oh yeah, Mike Long. Oh, you know, Mike Long. He doesn't listen to podcasts, but he said he wouldn't do it, and I was like, well, it's not a big deal. It's just a little bit of water, and then when I hit it, it was like up to my chest. So I waded through the flooded basement of an insane asylum.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so, anyways, so the movie culminates. I mean, my thing is the movie is ridiculous. The movie makes no sense. Like, I guess it follows its own rules. I enjoyed it.
It does not follow any rules.
I enjoyed it for the ridiculousness that it is. I have to be honest.
I just want to say one more thing about the sister.
I could not stop laughing.
It was hilarious
during the police scene. And if you say you don't think he did it on purpose, and you think that like the bad acting and the bad writing, if you don't think that was on purpose, explain the scene where she's in the cell at the jail.
See, that's my whole thing. I think what he
100% that had to be.
I think everything he did in this was intentional. I just don't think he thought it was that bad. Like, I don't know how, when she's in a jail cell that's like it's like 1,000 square foot jail cell with 50 prostitutes in it, and how from going from the interview room,
very mean prostitutes, by the way,
into the jail cell, we somehow got transported from present time to 1974, and there's like multiple Pam Grier lookalike prostitutes in there. And then again, it's like the movie not following its own rules. The cops literally just had all of their electronics and everything manipulated.
Yes.
And I don't mean let her go, she's free, but we're just going to put her in general population.
Yes.
In this holding cell. One, even if it didn't manipulate, this woman is being charged with like multiple murders. Mass murderer at this point, but we're just going to put her in the county holding cell.
Yes.
And then 45-minute Jackie Chan.
Completely unsupervised also. Yes. Make sure, don't forget that.
But the thing about the sister, she goes to the thing, she finds the documents, and like what Patrick said, we figure out that Gabriel has been leeching off of her. Mm-hmm. And automatically, out of nowhere, the sister and everybody just, he killed your babies. Are you sure? Or maybe it was your husband that was bashing your head up against the wall like and splitting the back of your head open like a cantaloupe.
Yeah.
Maybe, he's the reason. And then the movie like culminates with her in a black room with Gabriel, and she's just like, if you haven't forgot, we share the same brain, and closes a jail cell.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay. Like, and I was laughing hysterically because the acting is that bad. And maybe it is intentional. Was it the worst movie ever? No, it was entertaining, but I can't help myself. It's the world we live in now. It's like James Wan's name's attached to it, so people think it's genius, or that it's not. It's just a fun movie. I mean, maybe that's why it was direct to HBO or whatever.
No, there's
some holes in this. This movie makes no sense.
No, but again, I don't think it needs to. All right, so as far as our review goes, look, it's goofy as shit. Don't go into it expecting. First of all, don't go into it expecting to be scared, okay, or even like any semblance of frightened. You're not even.
No, you could watch this in the pitch dark.
Yeah,
and
I don't
you're
think you'll
gonna
be
laugh.
honestly disgusted. You'll just be like, oh.
But
But
what do you rate it?
how does our rating system work?
It doesn't matter.
Fuck, man. As far as entertainment, I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10.
It's not bad.
Yeah. As far as entertainment, as far as like quality of film, if you're going into it looking for like a fucking Oscar caliber, I'd give it like a 2.
Ooh, okay.
Like
well, I'm gonna rate it on my rating scale. I'm giving it 2 doses of ivermectin out of 10. So
you're sparing it from COVID.
yes, no, it was fun. It was entertaining. I mean, it's just it's you know what, I'm gonna say it. It's no Ernest Scared Stupid. I cannot see myself rewatching this movie.
Ernest Scared Stupid freaked me out a lot more than this did.
Yes. I guess like on fun movies like this, because again, I don't really care, like you said, like Oscar worthy, of course not,
Yeah.
But like, and so many people hold like these, the way we deal with horror fans and stuff all the time. People hold some of the most ridiculous things on a pedestal, like it is an Oscar worthy movie. This is not, and nothing he has done is. But
you're gonna love what I make you pitch.
But the my thing for like the entertainment rating, I'll give it on an honest 5 ivermectins out of 10. The problem is, at least with me, when I rate good bad movies or good fun, there's like a watchability factor, and like for me, do I regret like just randomly watching it for this show or watching it with Savannah? No, I don't. But like I just know that I'll never rewatch it again. Like, not because I hated it, just because it doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't draw me in. Like, I didn't miss anything, and the jokes weren't good enough. They didn't land. So it's kind of like it's there. I've watched way worse, so this isn't really all that bad. Like I said, I give it 5 out of 10.
Okay, I can appreciate that for sure. I would say there are scenes that I would rewatch again. Like that, the scene where when they do the reveal and he cracks out of the back of her head.
Yeah.
That I could not stop laughing. It was ridiculous. It looked ridiculous. Like, and again, like it had to have been on purpose because everything I was seeing on screen looked ridiculous, but was like taken so seriously. There was nothing written and directly in your face that would tell you other than like tongue-in-cheek irony. There was nothing that would tell you this is supposed to be a funny moment.
I do give it that. Like I do respect that it didn't.
It was so serious. The only humor came in its own self-awareness.
Yeah, and that's and that's the thing. That's the character of like good story writing and good execution on it, is let the audience figure it out. Like the last, I would say like the worst part of the movie that really infuriated me, not really infuriated me, but really just kind of like was like, man, it's just. I think maybe what you're saying, they were trying to finish up or hurry up or something, was really the end. Because she gets shot 4 times. They show you she's shot. So there's a part of me, it's like, okay, that's cool. We're going to have a super dramatic death scene, which we don't get because she's magically healed. And then the other one is, her little stepsister is in there, and Gabriel throws a hospice bed on top of her. Yeah. And she starts coughing up blood and breathing and bleeding from the mouth and the nose. Yeah, and then they lift the bed off of her, and she's completely healed.
Good. That's good. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's fine.
I mean, I guess the healing power is transferable.
Yeah. The cop was fine too, wasn't he?
We don't know. He got the trophy in the shoulder, and then that was it.
Okay.
Well, anyway, so we gave our rating. We got to move on. So the next little quick, because this one will be quick, doing a little double feature here.
Yeah, this will be quick because Rob didn't watch it.
Patrick and I both watched Unholy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that Jeffrey Dean Morgan was in it. Phenomenal talent. Mark Duplass's wife from The League is in it.
Which, hey, the fact that you didn't, okay.
Yeah.
You didn't say her name, so maybe that wasn't Wikipedia that just told
I only know her from The League.
Mm-hmm.
And Carrie Yules is in it, apparently with an accent. William Sadler is also in it. And then Tales from the Crypt. He was one of my favorite episodes on Tales of the Crypt, the Executioner. A lot of unholiness just going around everywhere. It's a pandemic.
There was. So thank you for that, Rob. I'll go ahead and break it down a little bit. So The Unholy is a perfect example of where you can have something with a pretty good and, as far as I'm aware, fairly original premise.
The story wasn't. I guess I'd say the story was definitely more original than the last one, and it's really rare that you get kind of nowadays a spooky. There's not a lot of witch stuff either, which I respected, but like spooky witch story. And at least for me, because I watched it,
you did.
I was actually invested.
Were you?
I did. I like the story. I like the whole Jeffrey Dean Morgan fake. He's a reporter. He's down in the dumps. He's working for, I guess, like some kind of online blog thing. And I just kind of liked. It fed you enough to where you kind of knew what was happening because of the intro that I watched in the movie, and and then the kind of. It wasn't overly dramatic, which I respect, because there's so many movies that waste 20 minutes on drama that doesn't need to be there.
Was it not, Rob?
Well, there was, but I mean, it wasn't like the only drama from the movie.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Yes.
Just the only drama from the movie. Every review we do spoilers, so just get over it. The only drama from the movie.
Yeah.
That I didn't quite understand, or I understood it, but I was kind of was basically the Carrie Yules thing. Like him knowing about the witch and him letting it go for the purpose of the church getting good publicity and all that just was kind of
okay. That was a little for you.
I just felt that it was just weak and it didn't really need.
Do you feel like they lingered on that a little too long? Do you?
Well, I do.
Yeah, that scene was like 10 seconds long, Rob.
Yeah, and that's enough.
So
that's enough.
Okay. So let me break
that whole scene. That whole scene where he goes into Carrie Yules' office and tells him everything he discovered. They didn't even need to have it because it's trying to be a dramatic scene that we don't need because it changed nothing.
It did a little bit, but I'll get into that. Okay, so again, like this is I
can't believe that I watched the movie and I told him I watched the movie.
I apologize, Rob. You watched it for sure. Clearly, you watched it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I paid the $3.99 to watch it.
Yep, it's good. I'm glad you did. So, anyways, like this is I can't tell if the writing itself was bad or if it was just the delivery and the overall like execution of the film. The special effects were absolutely god awful. The amount of pointless, cheap jump scares, I completely lost track of, like throughout the entire thing.
I will say I actually enjoyed the movie as a whole. Being a former screenwriter myself, I know how difficult it can be.
Yeah.
But no, I will say. Every single time an effect was used, no matter what effect it was awful.
It was
every single one. I mean, every single one. Even there's a scene where the creek water's supposed to be blood and they couldn't even CGI blood right. I mean, like it just didn't look
Did you see
right
that?
at
Okay,
all.
okay. For real, Rob, let's level. You watched the fucking movie, right? Did you watch the movie? Can we talk about that?
Yes.
It
I
looks
watched the movie entirely through on Amazon.
because I feel like you would have texted me while watching it. I just okay.
I don't know why. It's like almost like I have some kind of track record about not watching movies,
Yeah,
which is
it
not
is.
the truth at
You
all.
don't have that much. God, damn, you're usually honest though. So here's the issue.
I'm not
So-
just reading reviews on IMDb about certain scenes that may or may not have been good in the movie.
I mean, you know what? Kudos. That's a brilliant move. I wish I did that. So again, like, the premise itself. No, I actually love the premise. Right? It's so the story is about this witch who sold her soul to Satan, and
as they do.
as they do. And what she ended up doing, she actually was performing miracles around town. And so she was claiming that it was in the name of God and everything. And she was developing a following and all this stuff. And the entire thing was a ploy to get people to basically start having faith in her and thereby have faith in Satan and turn their backs on God, etc. So they finally found out about it, blah, 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 ended up murdering her. Present day, well, especially because when it starts out, it almost seems as though it's going to be another one of those, Salem witch trial, person accused, innocent, blah, blah, blah.
It is in Massachusetts, so I was kind of looking for a Salem angle to it. But I mean, I think the story was actually really good. I think it's kind of like what you're saying.
Well,
It was an execution
so what ends
issue.
So what's the guy's name? Whatever, Jeff Morgan.
You know who he is. It's Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey Dean. I know who he is. I know what he looks like. I don't give a shit. I don't care for him personally.
I liked him in The Possession. I thought he was good in The Possession,
Yeah,
and I never watched Walking Dead, so I don't know.
Yeah, nobody cared about who he was. I saw him in Watchmen before that, and he played like Batman's dad in one of the Snyder movies. I don't care, but he he basically he's a reporter. He's a defunct reporter. Used to report on miracles, and I guess, and he got caught faking a bunch of articles, and so he used to be like, this big name, and now he can't get work because of it, and he gets sent out to this little area to investigate something for like $200, which seems like a long way to travel for $200, but it is what it is. So he shows up, there's nothing there, and then he comes across this like doll out of nowhere somehow, and
It's
I don't
call it. It's like a field baby.
Yeah, field baby, we'll call it that. And so he for whatever reason, like he smashes it, thinking this will be my story. It's like, why is the smashed doll part of your story? Just you found a creepy doll, that's your story. But no, he smashes it. Come to find out that lets loose the spirit. The spirit just happens to be named Mary. I don't see why that even matters. Seeing as how, it was lying in the first place. Anyways, first thing it does, it heals this deaf girl who all of a sudden she starts hearing the voice. She goes out to the tree. All these people follow her for some reason out of the church to this tree. And then she starts speaking to the crowd. Well, she's deaf. She's never spoken before. So everyone's like, oh, my God. And she's like, oh, Mary says, follow her. And so as the movie goes, basically the Catholic Church comes out and they're investigating. Gary Yules plays the Archbishop with a horrible Boston accent that comes.
He was trying, man. But this is another one of those poorly executed things because anybody could have just heard it and said, hey, Carrie, look, no offense to you, but you don't need it because it's not like only Massachusetts priests can investigate Massachusetts miracles. We'll just say that you're from anywhere,
so
not Boston.
So anyway, like throughout this whole thing, though, like it's just weird. It starts out with the priests are trying to disprove the miracle, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan is trying to prove it, and all these people are trying to prove it. And I mean, it's going back and forth, and then all of a sudden, they're like, "Oh no, it's evil." So they find out all this stuff. It's like, "Oh, and her name was Mary." And apparently, if you, I don't know, it would like perform a miracle, and then if you didn't believe anymore, or if you doubted it, or if you decided, "Oh no, you're evil," it would take the miracle away and make you hang yourself. I don't know. The fucking it was terrible. It's the only thing.
Well, seeing as how Patrick apparently didn't watch the same movie that
Well,
I did,
So
because I thought it was fantastic.
So again, this is spoilers, right? So the only way they can stop this thing at the end is he has to go up there after this whole bit was about him salvaging his career, right? All of a sudden, people believe him. He is the go-to name in supernatural reporting or miracle reporting now. Like he's about to be a big star in the supernatural reporting world, whatever. And then the big finale culminates in him having to get up on stage on national television in the middle of this live broadcast of a miracle that's supposed to happen. And in order to defeat the witch, he has to go up there and tell everybody that he made it all up, right? Which the only way that ending would make sense is if it was anticlimactic as all hell, right? But
yeah,
it wasn't. Everyone's like, boo, boo, like booing him. They don't believe him at first, right? And then somehow they convince the girl while he's saying that, the girl realizes, oh shit, this isn't the Virgin Mary. This is a bad person. And then so she goes, it's true, I made it all up. And then they start booing her, right? And then the tree that housed the ghost spontaneously lights on fire.
well, it's supernatural.
Well, but I agree, Rob. It lights on fire, and then the ghost manifests. Which, first of all, the whole idea was that if people don't believe or follow it or think it's, the Virgin Mary, then it shouldn't have any power. And yet, after all this, it manages to manifest itself and go on a murdering spree. But after all that, where there is clear, indisputable evidence that something supernatural and crazy happened, it's still at the end. There's this joke about the local newspapers hiring, and he's like, nobody would hire me. It's like, no, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you can very easily just tell people afterwards, yeah, that fire that happened? Yeah, that's because I had to go up there and lie because that was the devil trying to trick you all. Like, you still had, that was still a monumental breakthrough, sir, that everybody should have witnessed. Like,
I'm just going to come out and say that I did like the ending, except for the CGI. And the best part about the ending was it was a happy ending. And I like happy endings in all of my movies, including horror movies.
Good.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan goes and works for the local newspaper, and he's got a doctor wife, and the deaf mute girl lives, and live happily ever after. I like it.
They do. Well, that's a whole other thing because one of the things. So the witch, I guess, has ever will live forever as long as she has descendants, right? And the deaf girl happened to be one of her descendants.
Yes, that she tried to murder.
Well, she didn't try to murder. She tried to murder Jeffrey Dean Morgan, right?
She can't kill Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
But the deaf girl jumped in the way and took the palm to the chest, which apparently means murder.
It was like a flaming palm.
Yeah, it was a flaming palm. So she accidentally murdered the deaf girl. And then, like, she's like, oh no, I'm dying. And then Jeffrey Dean Morgan's like, who knew all along the only way to kill her is for, she'll have everlasting life. That's how we find out about that whole thing. And then he's sitting there holding the girl and he's praying and like, I'm not good at praying, God, but she tried to save me, so spare her life. It's like, no, I think you should probably leave this one dead. In all honesty,
Yeah, but he did the right thing because he's the good guy.
Yeah, but you kind of just got proof that there's heaven and hell, man. Just let her go to fucking heaven. I would imagine she's going to fucking heaven, right? That's supposed.
We don't know. I mean, she did
good.
as a happy ending. I enjoyed it. I thought Jeffrey Dean Morgan was good, and the Mark Duplass's wife was average. But other than that,
That wasn't
it
even
was.
lost. Oh wait, no, that is.
It
Yeah,
is.
married to him in real life. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not,
yeah.
no,
yeah.
yeah. No, Kevin was married to her in the lead.
Yeah, I thought you meant his character. You know, that's weird. Should we do like? It's not horror related, but that's a weird thing in sitcoms. We should look into that and see if that's like because in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you know, Mac and
yeah,
Dee
Mac and Dee
married.
are married.
And but like they always have a different relationship to the character. You know,
Yeah.
like she's well, I guess she wouldn't be Mac's sister. That'd be fucking weird.
But it is
Yeah.
it is strange how that does happen. Well, I'm giving this movie out of 10. I'm giving this movie a solid 8.
Nah, fuck off. This
Like what is I liked it. I liked the story. I hated the CGI, but I could turn a blind eye to the CGI. I like a spooky witch story.
Entertainment factor would be a 4.
That's you're just doing this to punish me for some reason.
No, as a film, I'd give it a 3. So.
Oh no, it's a Sam Raimi film, basically.
No, it doesn't have nearly. Are you kidding me? It doesn't have video.
Raimi and Tappert were the producers on this.
Yeah. You know what he did? He gave this guy money and walked away.
I don't think so.
And maybe he suggested 1 or 2 camera shots, but like there were so many parts of this movie that were just inept. No.
I will say that we are actually running into more of this now because of the Rona, I believe. I mean, there are movies with decent names attached to them and decent budgets.
Yeah, no.
And when you watch them, it's rushed. You could tell it's rushed. You could tell the CGI is not finished. You could tell it's not ready to go. You could tell there were extra scenes or bigger. Like this movie, I will say my biggest complaint are all of the effects, including the effects that they used for exposition. Anytime there's exposition, it's a Skype call or a FaceTime call or him watching a video on his computer, and it's just like you said, it's just like the weakest way of telling a story. Where if they had a budget and maybe something like there would be a scene where he went to the actual diocese, and there's only one scene in a library, and it's probably because that's all they could afford to do is to bring the crew and shoot in a. It is very quickly paced, and it feels unfinished.
Well, there is a thing, and you're going to see a lot of that, especially in the next year or so, where some of it has to do with. I did read, probably about a year ago, that studios were revisiting a bunch of these movies that got made and then just got shelved because the final product, they're like, ugh, no. You know, where they try and find the right place to release it, where it's not going up against anything. It's not going to be a tent pole. They're just like, hey, get this out. You know, barely any marketing. But those movies are getting more marketing now because they weren't making movies for about a year.
And they already spent the money. The money for the movie's been spent.
Yeah. So they're like, you know what? Just shove this thing out there. You know, recoup what you can off of it. We're not making anything else right now. People are desperate for new content. Just get that shit out there that we didn't want to put out before. And that's what a lot of these things are, is stuff that they'd been sitting on that they didn't know how to release it. And now they're like, okay, well, you know, I guess now's the time. We don't have anything else. And that's probably why, you know, like you said, it looks rushed. It probably has more to do with the fact that they probably are unfinished. Where
I can almost imagine it
off because they said, you know what, your budget's done. This is going to be a straight to video release, and then COVID happened, and they're like, oh no, shit, this is going to be a main release now.
Well, I can almost imagine with this movie, the CGI was never even done. This movie was shelved pre-CGI. And then that's probably the last thing they did. Like you said, they put a finishing touch because it's shelved and they don't want to put any more money into it, but there's a lag or a gap. I could honestly see this movie. If this movie was made without COVID, I could honestly see this movie. It would still be a throwaway movie, but I could see this movie getting a theatrical release with better editing, rewrites, better CGI, and it just would be like whatever, like a summertime, whatever. Like Malignant to me is a throwaway horror movie as well. It's just done way, way, way better than this movie.
Yeah.
It looks better.
I think with a better director, this could have been on par with like a Emily Rose.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Emily Rose is good, but it's not like in the top 25, I think, of anybody's list, and it's pretty low budget, and it made its money.
Oh, I'd definitely put it in the top 25 all time.
Well, maybe. Well, I mean, no, but it's like, it's a demonic movie, it's a witch movie, it's 5
possession films for me.
It's up, yeah, it's up there. And like I said, I think if this movie had the budget and the time and if this movie had the same money and backing as like Malignant had, I guess, like, you're probably right, it probably would have been a really, really, really solid movie. But I think there's so many of them, like you said, that, I don't know. I guess I don't even know why you would make a film that probably costs as much as this, even though it's unfinished. And you hire Jeffrey Dean Morgan, you hire William Sadler, and you hire all these people, and you shoot
in anything.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it seems like you took your time to try to find at least competent actors.
Yeah. No, it was chock full of people that you would recognize, but that were cheap.
Yeah, and even the girl that played the possessed girl, she could act. I mean, she could act. She wasn't, again, like, they're not huge draws.
Yeah,
but for the most part, everything was competent in it.
Yeah.
Except for like you said, I think you texted, like, this is a thing of like a good story and good other things just executed poorly.
The cinematography was terrible. If I'm noticing cinematography in a film, or editing in a film, it's either phenomenal or terrible. It's not a lot of times that I notice good editing. Like, good editing should go completely unnoticed,
Yeah, only bad editing is, and I think that's part of it here, because I think there probably were multiple scenes that were cut and redone, and they just didn't work because it doesn't make sense on how it flows in the story.
When they realized, we're not making like a 2.5 hour epic here. This isn't going to be a Snyder cut. Nobody wants this shit. So cut it down to something digestible. Let's just get it out the door. Because I can tell you right now, if this movie was 2 or 2.5 hours, based on what I saw in the first 20, 30 minutes, I'd probably be in the same boat you are, and I'd be reading off a fucking IMDb.
Okay, I rented this movie. Okay, and I thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
That's good. I'm glad. All right, so
now we're gonna move on, I guess, to Pitch Deck.
We're gonna move on to Pitch Deck, which
hold on.
Poppycock.
There it is.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I need a better one than that, but I mean, it's what I got right now.
Yeah, we really need to. I think this one was a.
This is because you caught me and you said I had to give you something.
Oh yeah.
Whilst recording, and
that was the rule. You had to tell them before we go into the. Before we stop. I appreciate it.
I completely panicked.
Yeah. To be fair, most people despise this movie.
See, I didn't even know it was a John Carpenter movie. I didn't even know it was until I was just searching on Amazon John Carpenter movies.
I was
like, holy crap, he did do Village of the Damned. That's right. And I'd never seen it.
Yeah. Like a lot of John Carpenter movies, it doesn't necessarily, like, it's hard to look at a movie. Like, there are some movies you'll look at and you'll be like, oh yeah, that was John Carpenter. But then he's done a lot of them where, like, it's just nothing. Like, there's no signature to it. He just showed up to work. He's just like, yep, you're feeling. But I'm not supposed to talk like that because I am pitching Village of the Damned this week.
Yes. Okay. Okay, I gotta get into character here.
My notes here.
Oh, he took notes.
I had.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking it seriously now, man.
This is Rob with Big Movie Productions LLC, and you have an idea for me.
I do. Let me ask you something. How do you feel about the classic story of the Midwich Cuckoos.
You know, I'm gonna be honest with you here. I've never heard of the Midwest Cuckoos.
Midwich, sir.
No, I haven't heard of that one either.
It's a small town in, guessing. I'm going to say Iowa. Seems very Iowa.
Iowa's really hot right now.
Is it? Is it?
Yes,
Good.
super
Good.
hot right now.
Good, because we're gonna open up with. Actually, no, I don't think it's Iowa. It can't be Iowa. I don't know. There's a cliff somewhere. Wherever there are cliffs, that's where we are. And so
People love cliffs.
Good. They're gonna need to, because what we're gonna do, we're gonna start the movie out with 5 minutes of slow meandering shots.
I love a good meander.
There's gonna be virtually no sound. Okay, we're gonna have. We're not even gonna have. We're gonna have ambient sound. Okay, but I'm not talking about birds chirping. I'm not talking about children frolicking or cars going by. These are gonna be long meandering thoughts with nothing but the wind.
Oh, okay, so we're trying to.
For 5 minutes.
That's. I mean,
there will be.
I assume this plays into the vision of the story somehow.
No, not at all. Other than to really highlight how this town is probably the most podunk and boring town you could ever hope to live in. These people have absolutely nothing going on for them in their lives. So much so that the main event for their year is this large get together for God knows what. In all honesty, I completely forgot about that part and forgot to jot it down on my script here that I have.
Well, you're on a roll right now. Do we have any? I mean, I'm not saying this is a bad idea, but so far with a 5-minute silent meandering track, which I am a fan of, and of course Iowa is a fantastic.
Not even very scenic, by the way. Not even very scenic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not going to be like nice landscape that we're looking over. It's just going to be landscape. So there'll be a cow here and there. Small town.
Well, I mean
it's slow meandering, so it's not going to be like shots of a busy town or what people do in their daily lives. It'll be empty landscape and then some town, but again, mostly empty.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm going to be honest with you right here. I'm not really a visual guy so much.
Okay.
What kind of names do we do? Or let's just jump right to it. What kind of names do we have attached to this film, seeing as how it is 1995?
Okay, so hear me out. All right, are you listening?
I'm all ears.
Okay, how do you feel about Star Wars?
Good.
Okay. How do you feel about Superman?
I like what I'm hearing here. So are we talking Marlon Brando and Harrison Ford?
No. Stay with me. How do you feel about the TV sitcom Cheers, or even Who's Talking Now, perhaps?
When those babies talk.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so good.
Everyone loves those babies. Well, here's what I need you to do. I need you to forget all of those movies exist real quick, okay? You need to completely and utterly forget those movies exist, because honestly, that's the only reason we were able to get these people in here, because we promised them that this would take their careers in different directions and they'd be actually able to get more work out.